This started. Okay, get this going. Welcome, folks. I'm just going to get us up and running on Facebook. So bear with me for one moment and we'll get started here. If you're here with us in the Zoom room, feel free to find the chat feature and say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're in the US and celebrated the long weekend, let us know what you did. Robert, what was it that you did again all weekend?
The annual Jacobi Make Enough Marinara Sauce for the Entire Winter-a-thon. I think I should make that a website with the help of GoWP.
Absolutely. Get you a logo and everything.
So for US folk, that's gallons and gallons of tomato sauce. For everyone else, it's liters and liters and liters and liters of tomato sauce that gets all frozen.
That's awesome. I think that's a wonderful way to spend the weekend. So that's great. Okay, we are up in Facebook. Let me just make sure that everyone finds us over there. And let's see, we've got Charlie from Spartanburg and Alex saying hello in the chat here. So welcome. Remember, if you are in the Zoom room and you're using the chat, just make sure you can change the settings to send messages to host and panelists, or you can also send to everyone. So that way everyone who's here as an attendee can see your messages, your chats, your comments, questions, if you want them to be visible and kind of have the conversation going in the chat. We love an active chat here in our webinars and all of that. So, okay, I think we've got everything set up and ready to go then. So we've got Mariah tuning in from her parents' house in North Carolina. So that's
I know. I saw that. I should drop off a bag of the frozen sauce when she gets back into town.
Absolutely, yeah, you should. I was just saying, Mariah gets to see everybody. Chicago's like really kind of an apex here for our community. There's lots of folks who either live there or pass through there. But yeah, great city. All right, let's go ahead.
Terrible winters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's not go in the winter. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So hi everyone, I am Emily from GoWP and welcome to today's webinar. What do agencies look for when partnering with hosting companies? And we're here with Robert Jacobi today, who's the director of WordPress at Cloudways. And I'm really excited to have a great conversation about this. So if you're here watching, if you're watching the live stream on Facebook, make sure to send in comments, send questions, experiences, all that kind of stuff, and we'll have a good conversation about it. I want to take a couple of minutes really quick just to say a couple words about GoWP in case anyone watching isn't familiar with us. At GoWP, we create happiness for digital agencies and we help them to become more profitable. So whether you're looking to grow your team with a developer, a copywriter, a designer, or a project manager, or you're interested in outsourcing services so you can focus on growth, we've got you covered. So you can grow your team with a developer, a copywriter. We've got dedicated services for that. And we also do things like maintenance, content edits, case studies, all sorts of things that you can outsource to us so that you're able to focus on growth and growing your agency. We've also built an active community of more than 1,600 agency owners where we hold regular group calls, webinars like this one, mastermind sessions, all sorts of things that really it's the community that makes it work. And if you're watching this in the Facebook group, you know all about that. So if you're interested in growing your agency with GoWP, feel free to reach out to me, Emily at GoWP.com, or join us in the Facebook group, and you can definitely find me there, and I'll put a link to that here in the chat for folks who aren't in it yet. So yeah, a few notes regarding this webinar. So I'll be watching the chat here in the Zoom room, and I'll also be watching it over on Facebook. So if you have questions, throw them out there, put them in the chat. You can put them in the comments if you're watching on Facebook, and we'll bring them over here. And again, make sure if you want everyone to see your comments and questions to just change that little toggle button to everyone instead of just host and panelist. And it looks like the chat's already working, so that's fantastic. We've got folks here, and we've got folks over on Facebook too. This is great. I turned that tab off for just a minute. We've got Zach, we've got Bet, Adam, all kinds of folks here. And Bet is saying she missed the Zoom link, but I'll see if I can get that to you, Bet, in just a minute. And see if I can find it for you. So let's see. I think that's everything. So let's get to why we're here today, which is Robert Jacobi. Robert leads the WordPress business unit at Cloudways, a multi-cloud managed application as a service platform that lets users choose where they want their website to be hosted. Prior to joining Cloudways, Robert served as president of the open source project Joomla, running 3.5% of the internet, and executive vice president for Perfect Dashboard, where he partnered with major web hosting providers to offer websites, automated security, and performance updates. So Robert, welcome. So happy to have you here. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, you all know Robert well. He's in our Happiness Hour calls on Fridays, practically every week. We always wrangle him in there. So whether he wants to be or not, he's there. So we're really happy to be doing this webinar with Robert today. So welcome, Robert.
Thanks, Emily. Woo. I'm gonna start blushing. You guys are great. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's get started.
Yeah, we touched on this topic really kind of got germinated. Boy, at one of the GoWP niche agency, Friday Happy Hour, and really about all these agencies are trying to do things, trying to find avenues of recurring revenue, trying to expand their service base. And, coming from the hosting company perspective, I was like, well, is anyone calling their hosting company and trying to figure out what can be done together? Hosting companies, adore, active, proactive, agency partners in their in their ecosystems. Sorry. And so that's kind of the little germ of the thought to put this together about how can agencies partner with hosting providers. So that's sort of the kickoff sentence of that. I just want to make sure that that's clear and everyone gets that idea. Oops, something blip out?
So, yeah, something certainly did. I'm back. It looks like we still have attendees.
Okay.
I'm not sure what happened. I was sorry about that, Robert. I was just telling Robert before we were getting started that Zoom did an update on me today. So I'm not sure what that was, but we're back. So apologies to everyone. And it says we're still live on Facebook, which it looks like we are. So, okay, let's get started again.
Or super started. We're good. I'm seeing Jason Maroyo and everyone saying everything's good. So
cool.
It's always, we're keeping it live, keeping it real. It's
absolutely. Yeah, that was a first though. That one, I have no idea what happened, but
we're bringing the flavor of the happy hour into the webinars.
Keep everyone on their toes. That's right.
So, the title of the webinar is, what do agencies look for? And it really is about what should agencies look for. Most agencies, even if you've been around just a very short time, are like, I need my performance, I need my support, I need my security. Okay, how are you measuring that? What are the real value adds that a certain hosting company provides over another? And I'm going to be very agnostic. Yes, I have the little Cloudways tag over my shoulder, but having run an agency for almost 20 years at one point in my life, I understand the questions that a lot of people are actually not asking and thinking about. As hosting continues to evolve, a lot of these services are being commoditized. So performance and security, those are the easy ones. Performance, almost everyone's running on a similar set of cloud services. They're doing little tweaks with caching and optimizations. So performance, slowly but surely, if it's not all the same today, which we know it's not, it will be over the next 5 years. For sure. You can only go so fast because, you can only go so fast. So that's just going to be a baseline commoditized service that everyone should expect. Security, there are so many tools being, introduced to manage everything from what are those DDoS attacks to WordPress hacks, everything from like PatchStack and WordFence to hardcore PHP monitoring software like Monarchs to other, web application firewalls. So that's getting better and better and better. So as things get better and better and better, everything's getting better and better and better, except Emily staying online.
Is it just me dropping off? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
you flipped out again.
Okay, but you're able to stay on with everybody? Is it shutting everything down?
No. Zoom's staying up. So Robert is fine, says Maria.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to do what I can today.
Okay, no worries.
Not sure what's happening.
It's a great way to see how many people are actually live in the chat, because now all of a sudden it's like everything's good, everything's good, everything's good.
Yeah, right. Really sorry about that.
No worries. So we look at, performance and security as sort of features that are just going to be expected and commoditized, as the years go by. Support with better software solutions, you need less support. And support is sort of the new feature that a lot of hosting companies are trying to add in to make sure that, it's available. So as a agency, where can you take advantage of this? Many hosting companies have agency partnership programs. Usually the first line of that is just affiliate work, which it stinks. Let's just say it. I'm not a big affiliate fan. I think affiliates serve a great portion of the market, but that's not where you want to be as an agency. You really want to be at that next level where you're talking to a human being, talking to a person, and building a relationship, a one-on-one relationship between you and that, web host. And you can do this across multiple hosts. That's, you don't need to think that, I really need to be at WP Engine, or I really need to be at Cloudways, or I really need to be at Kinsta, or, Liquid Web. You don't need to have all your ducks in one basket. And frankly, I would say you probably shouldn't, because that gives you a little bit more leverage across the conversations when dealing with other hosting companies. Welcome back, Emily.
I'm apologies to everybody. I'm not sure what the best way to handle this is, if I'm just going to continually drop out. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video so it's not disruptive anyway. I think that would probably be helpful.
It's not disruptive at all. My screen just keeps blinking. But don't have all your eggs in one basket. Work across multiple hosting vendors, and you can try to remember where I left off exactly, but leveraging those relationships in and of themselves directly or against each other. So, agencies are looking for support, attention, that relationship, and all of that will help you connect. So there's a pattern to this madness. At the end of the day, what I'm hoping agencies will grasp is that just paying a bill is not the critical thing. You need to reach out and find out who runs those agency partnership programs and start asking things that are helpful for you. During our little pre-webinar wake up, if you're bringing $500 a month or more to an agency, you should absolutely have the opportunity to have a one-on-one with some partnership manager who will listen to you and take your needs into account. And these are things from trying to get better rates on all of your hosting, trying to get better response times. I mentioned support as sort of that, there's performance, security, and support. So support is that new feature set that everyone's trying to get on top of and have sort of the best out there. You should be talking to someone in your partner, at your hosting company's partnership program, where they will start getting expedited support to you. You are bringing much more business in on a sort of monthly recurring basis than any individual will. Individuals come and go. Most of the revenue is really coming from agencies who bring boatloads of their clients along. So you want to be able to support all of your clients, and what is the relationship you're building up with your hosting company to make sure that they're attentive to you above and beyond just the baseline. We'll get back to you in 8 or 24 or 48 hours kind of stuff. You don't want someone who's going to be sending potentially your customers to a bunch of docs online and FAQs. You really want someone to be proactive and answering questions, helping out with the support before you have to get involved. And the cost for support on the hosting company is going to be much less than what it costs you to have to deal with that support, especially at 2 a.m. when a client calls and says, "Uh-oh, something's wrong with my WooCommerce site. Something's wrong with my WordPress site." I'm seeing some interesting questions coming across. Do you want to throw those out there, Emily or Mariah?
Yeah, so I went ahead and made Mariah host here, so hopefully I won't be messing up the flow of things. Heads up though, Mariah, this was not part of the plan, so Mariah wasn't aware that this would be happening. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep myself on mute and video off, and Mariah and Robert, I think you guys can handle this. You're seasoned experts, so.
So I saw a question about the commoditization of services. No, I don't think so. Let me read the question I'm saying. Do you see the commoditization of services as a race to the bottom in terms of pricing? No, actually not. I think just because services are commoditized, that just means they're expected, and that's what you should be getting. So that's not necessarily going to drive pricing down. In fact, it may create a baseline of new pricing. Like if you want, this level of speed, performance, security, you don't have to pay more than $2 a year for hosting your website, and that's okay. And I don't think that is a big problem. And as an agency owner, if you have clients that are only willing to pay $2 a year for hosting, you have much bigger problems than that, because hosting, it's part of the infrastructure. It's critical. Just because it's commoditized doesn't mean it's going to get super cheap. It's just going to, in my head, commoditization of performance and security is all about the expectations. So hosts that can't, meet that are just not going to last and continue.
Cool. And I think you touched on it, but there was a follow-up to that, Robert. At what level of revenue should we expect an account manager or some expedited support?
Well, at some point, most hosts will notice if you're spending $10,000 a month on hosting. That'll just kind of happen magically, and someone will be like, "Oh," and reach out via email or whatnot. But if you're spending more than a couple $100 a month on hosting as an agency, you should absolutely reach out, because the long-term value of an agency with X amount of clients that is growing is huge. So if you're at $300 a month, I like to say 500, but what's it going to hurt if you're spending $300 to $500 a month and say, "Hey, I have 20 clients. We're all spending X amount. They're all spending this much together. This is my bill to you guys. What can we do as to sort of improve my offering as an agency? Can I get direct level 2, level 3 support instead of just having this level 1 support email stuff? Can I get a better deal on the infrastructure or whatnot?" I mean, I've seen this before in other open source communities where you have these smaller agencies and they're just afraid to ask. They're like, well, I can't ask this because I'm not bringing them $10,000 to $20,000 a month of revenue. No, absolutely ask. Find out who you connect with, and then the differentiator is, does anyone respond? Does anyone care? And just like with let's jump a level and say, if you have airline mileage points, if you move from, let's say, Chicago to Minnesota, now you've gone from a United hub to a Delta hub. No matter how many points you got, I bet you if you call Delta and say, look, I need to switch airlines because I moved to a new city, what can you do for me as a deal to move all my points over to Delta? They will do it. They'll match it. They'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And you should be able. You should feel confident asking those questions. It's a business for everyone, and we want to make sure that on the agency side, you're getting the best value for the dollar. On the hosting side, of course, we want to see all that recurring revenue from doing the actual hosting portion of it. So, to answer your question, Mario, really after a couple $100, a month in, you should feel confident in being able to reach out and say, I need to talk to someone who manages agencies and see what you guys can offer.
Yeah, I love that. And especially because the cost of going out and finding new business as opposed to, meeting your requests, it behooves them to match that. I wanted to invite anyone who is viewing the webinar from Facebook. Also, please do know that you can chime in your questions as well, and we'll be sure to read those, pose those to our specialist, Robert Jacobi. Don't be shy.
You actually said something interesting about marketing and selling. So as you build that relationship up, what agencies don't realize is that hosted companies also want a ton of organic content, organic marketing, all of that. You should absolutely be asking about, hey, can we cross promote each other in certain, blog posts, social media, events, wherever? Can we partner on something? Let's say you're having, when these wonderful word camps will someday start taking place on a daily basis, as they used to be. Say you're in Oregon and you're having that word camp. Why not, as an agency, be that first mover and reach out to one of your hosting vendors, because you're paying the hosting company, and say, listen, we're going to be at this event. I bet you'd like some exposure. We're going to put a blog post out. By the way, you should also do some marketing about this word camp and mention us as the agency of record that's working to make this happen. There are so many little it's not sneaky. It's just, you just got to do them. You have to ask the question, and I just keep trying to push that forward. You never know how far, given a certain month or a certain quarter or a certain year, a hosting company will be happy to support you in your endeavors as an agency in cross marketing. And you may have a niche, so maybe you're focused very much so on accessibility. So why not say, hey, hosting vendor, listen, we're an accessibility agency, and how can we, help make, WordCamp Oregon a better thing together in this space? Doing some of the work for the agency and saying, oh, by the way, we can do this. Do you have any funds to support this? Makes everyone's life easier. The hosting companies have a lot of money. They don't necessarily have a lot of time. Coming to them like you would to a newspaper or any other kind of media source and saying, here's the whole article, here's all the content, here's everything I've done for you. Can you publish this? Can you post this? 9 times out of 10, it's going to happen. It really is. And I don't see agencies taking that opportunity to do some of that work that they're already doing. I mean, small agencies work their butts off and are putting a lot of this content together. So, let someone else know, and don't think that it just has to be letting someone else know by posting on Twitter. Let all your partners that you're working with know what's going on, and especially if you focus on a niche that might be, you know, uniquely valuable to them.
Absolutely. Well, you're brilliant. It's hard. You got to get
on my
on.
high horse. I'm just like, come on, folks, get out of the, you know, come out of the shadows, and you know, start engaging, you know, with your vendors, because you're paying them money, and yes, they're providing a service, but you'll be surprised at how much on the marketing and sales side you can really start sort of a flywheel of you know, content creation happening.
Right, and there's great room for that reciprocity that will benefit everyone equally. A few more questions have floated in on the Facebook side. Let's see. I see it's a huge decision for an agency to change hosting providers. For us, it's taking 3 or more months of migrations. Can you say more about the decision factors to weigh in terms of deciding to make a change?
That's a great question. It's a great question. You know, especially if you're at like 50, 100 plus sites that you're managing. And then obviously as you get bigger, you know, the questions you should ask are, you know, why are you migrating them all? That's fair. You might be migrating on price, which I think it's simultaneously the most important and least important factor in any kind of migration. Yes, you want to get the best value for the dollar, but you want to make sure that, you know, if you're including the 3 months of migration, are you really getting that value back? So it's figuring out the value of what that means. Do you see a long-term relationship happening with that hosting provider? So if you're going to migrate 100 sites from host A to host B, backtrack a bit. Create that relationship with host B first before you start migrating to host A. You know, listen, we have 100 sites. We're going to migrate them. We're planning on migrating them from host A to any other host. What kind of relationship, what kind of unique partnership can we work on together? And a lot of that's going to be around that marketing and content and co-marketing. And frankly, co-marketing dollars, hosting companies will spend a little money to, you know, get that long-term revenue. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I don't know if I can move these 100 sites over, it's going to take 3 months, it's going to take a lot of time and dollars. Yeah, the hosting company will probably make sure that happens. They might want you to commit for a couple of years, but that's fine. But then on the agency side, make sure that you get commitments on how will you, you know, repost us? How can we have co-marketing together, whether it's in a specific vertical or a specific geographic region? Take that opportunity to ask those questions. And if your host can't answer those questions, well, just say thank you and I'll keep looking around, and that's fine. But you're going to spend a lot of time, and time is money. So how do you want to get paid back for that? You're going to want to get paid back for that by not having to spend more on Google AdWords. You're going to want to be able to get onto a podcast, onto a webinar, into some blog posts, and generate organic, you know, meaningful, valuable conversions back to your agency.
Excellent. And yeah, I guess Melanie did comment that she's her agency is getting ready to change. They're about to migrate 65 sites, what she commented on the Zoom chat. And Emily streamed a question on Facebook. She says, when you're getting started as an agency and maybe don't have a lot of bargaining power, what would be the best place to start for exploring these partnership opportunities? Kind of going along with this thread of conversation we've been having too.
Let me answer Melanie's question first, because this will be funny. Everyone thinks I'm crazy when I do it. Hey, Melanie, call me 847-687-5860. See, that's just my cell number. I mean, now everyone knows, but but that's literally how you do it. I mean, you know, from the hosting side, you need to reach. Say it again.
Yeah, I was gonna like that song from the 80s. Call Jenny 8675. Can you set that to tune for us, Robert? One more time, and I'll post it.
I'm gonna type it into the Zoom chat.
Okay.
But you know, should I put dashes in?
Or do it the European way with the little period. There you go. That's fine. That works. I'll copy this over for Zoom too.
It is my mobile number. Now, will I answer all the time? I try, but I do have to sleep. Mario, I'm gonna copy your number in there shortly just for fun.
555.
1212. Yes, I know it well.
Star. Is that okay if I post your number also in the Facebook chat as well?
Absolutely. It really is public. So and yes, it is my mobile phone number.
Zach's
But
telling me.
you want to be able to reach out and have that conversation, and maybe the person you call can't provide all the answers, but they can move you along the process. You had a fantastic. I don't know who asked the question. I don't know if it's yours or you just read it out, Mario, about you're just starting up.
Mhm.
You're just starting up, as an agency or a freelancer, create your site, make sure you get your affiliate code. Every hosting company has an affiliate program. Just sign up for it. And then you can kind of affiliate back to yourself. But that's what you're going to do. And then sign up for their agency partnership program. Some hosting companies may say, oh, if you don't have enough revenue or enough customers, you can't be part of this program. Give it a shot. 9 times out of 10, you're just going to get into the program anyway. Find someone you can talk to. As soon as you get into those programs, as soon as you sign up online into one of those programs, start building a relationship with someone. You're going to have an account manager. If you only have 1 site or 2 sites, you're probably going to get the account manager that just showed up yesterday to their new job. That's okay. Just build that relationship. Find out what that hosting company provides as a whole for agencies in any partnership program, and just build those relationships. Have that conversation once a month, saying, hey, guess what, we were 2 sites last month, but you know what, we're 4 sites this month, and I know it's only been 2 months, so we have 100% increase in sites, but we feel that we're going in the right direction. And those account folks will hear that, and the good ones will continue that conversation. So you want to find the hosting companies that continue those conversations to make that happen.
I really like that. I just want to concur with you that putting that positive spin or perspective on your growth and your progress, I think is really important. I think that attracts other people when you can sell your story. You can retell the positive attributes of the work that you're doing. 2 sites leads to 4 sites, like you said. It's 100% growth, and positive attention begets more positive attention. So
there's you're so right. I mean, there's so much of this. And I had to think of the word for a sec. Everyone feels like they shouldn't have been able to do that. The imposter syndrome thing. Well, you know what? Sometimes I hate this phrase. Hate it. And it's not even true. So I'm going to say it and then fix it. So there's fake it till you make it. Well, so the problem with that phrase is you're not faking it. You're actually doing the work, but you just may want to adjust, how you report those results. So maybe in, month 1, you had 2 sites. Month 2, you had 0 sites. So you're not going to say we have 0% growth. Maybe you're going to wait on the quarter. Oh, and then, all of a sudden month 3 comes around, you have 4 sites. Oh, great. So quarterly growth was 200%. Fantastic. Think about the metrics that are legitimate. Don't lie. That's why I don't like fake it to make it, because you are doing the work, but sometimes it's important to reframe your experiences, your business model, and what you can offer to a hosting company, and then frankly say, listen, we had this amount of sites in the first quarter. We expect this amount of forecast. We expect this amount in the second quarter, in the third quarter, fourth quarter. Be reasonable, be rational, and continue that conversation. Build that relationship. And I have no problem saying you should build that relationship with at least 2 different providers, because you never know. One might be sort of that high-end provider. We're going to spend $200 a month on a Google Cloud server. The other one might be we're going to have a whole bunch on some shared services. And that's fine, and that's okay. But
Mhm.
if you let each one of them know that you're working with someone else, that's
Mhm.
also going to be a little incentive on the hosting company side to make sure that they're proactive with you and helping you be better at their, infrastructure with your customers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to encourage anyone who is trying to figure out their next steps at their game plan to approach the hosting companies. I encourage you to call 847-687-5860 and speak to Mr. Robert Jacobi, and he will give you even more sound advice.
I've totally turned it on do not disturb for the moment.
But let the man sleep. For 8 hours Central Time at least. Please do send in the Zoom room or on Facebook as we're coming to, I think, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, we were shooting for a little over 30 minutes. So please get those questions in, and while we have Robert's attention in time. Sorry, were you about to say something, Robert, as I?
Oh, go for it. I was just going to say, just a lot of, and I've been there. I was there 20 years ago, as an agency startup with one partner. So there was two of us, and there was just all this hesitancy around, we're too small to have this conversation. I'm afraid to, do anything. What is the worst thing that'll happen? The worst thing that'll happen is like, okay, I'm sorry, you have two sites. We can't do anything for you. But here's my number. Call me back when you have 5 sites. Oh, okay. Now you have a name and a number. Find that human connection at that, provider. And frankly, I'm speaking specifically around the hosting space, but really for any vendor, you have a lot of leverage as an agency to make your life easier by letting your vendors know how much value you're bringing to them.
Absolutely. We had a question, I missed the name, but a question did come in for you, Robert, to say more about working with multiple hosts. We've tended to work with one at a time. Can you speak more to that?
That's great until you have to do a giant migration, because and I don't think that all hosts are equal in what they provide to all types of clients. So, are you going to get something? I'll just flip it around. If I'm an agency working on ESPN.com, that's going to require a certain type of host. But that agency could also be working on a bunch of mom and pop stores or smaller chains that don't require the level of support and expense that something like an ESPN.com would need. Yeah, it's football season starting, so that's why I have ESPN stuck in my head. But so there's I think it's a good idea to have oops, microphone in the way, slots for your enterprise. An enterprise, I'm going to use in a very generic term, not like ESPN.com, but you're going to have customers that need X amount of support performance, disk space, RAM, the whole 9 yards, versus a bunch of more bricks and clicks stores that aren't getting traffic through the roof, and you'll see that certain hosting providers work better in one direction than the other. So there, and there's no reason not to utilize. I would recommend two. I would do an easy split between the two. Like, okay, these folks are just have to be on X host, and the other folks have to be on Y host. And leverage those discussions. When you're talking to one of your providers, feel free to say that. Oh, but by the way, we utilize a bunch of other services on this other host. What can you do for me better? What can you do that the enterprise host is doing for my, really high paying hosting clients that I can leverage into my sort of shared hosting clients.
Yeah, and again, yeah, relationships, and I think giving that giving the host an opportunity to rise to the occasion and provide the utmost service for you that's possible, I think is awesome. Mr. Robert, do you have any parting words of wisdom or thoughts for the individuals who have tuned in today or who will be watching the playback of this conversation?
Bearing the lead, find someone you can have a relationship with at your vendor. I mean, that's the end of the conversation. And once you have that human, I mean, we all want to do everything with forms and one-click online and all that. At the end of the day, someone's responsible for revenue at the hosting company. You're responsible as an agency owner. You should have a relationship with that person and figure out how you can both succeed, because there are metrics for that, account owner on the agency, on the hosting side, excuse me, where it's like, what's the spend on this? Have they, had any upsells? Have they purchased upsells for security, for performance, for themes, for plugins? They want to make sure that they're getting that information to you as an agent, utilizing that. In fact, hosting company, it's not just one customer of mine that will flip the will move the dials. So how can we work on this together? Get that marketing. It's not going to be free, but you're going to get co-marketing and just ask for it. I guess that one sentence will be, ask for what you want. So what's the worst that's going to happen?
You might succeed. You might get what you asked for. Whoa.
and I think most agency owners listening to this will be shocked at what, just because you asked, you can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Robert, thank you. I'm just doing a last second look through to make sure I didn't overlook anyone, because I'm known for that, for missing comments and questions. But yeah, this, see, can I get free hosting? I'm not sure where that came from, who sent that, but can I get free hosting was the question.
You get what you pay for. At Cloudways, we have free hosting for 3 days. So you can get a free trial. Hosting providers.
The answer is yes. Oh, I think your sound dropped out for a second, Robert.
Oh, I was just saying, most hosting providers have some kind of trials, free trials. So it depends on how long you want that free hosting.
It'll be a great 3 days. It'll be a great 3 days. Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic, this conversation, and thank you for your flexibility. And Emily is still with us. So thanks for overseeing the transition, Emily. Oh, there she is. There she is. Emily, I don't know if you're able to connect, but do you have any final thoughts on the conversation for today? If not, I think here she comes.
I'm here. I'm not going to say anything except thank you, both of you, so much for doing such a wonderful job and smoothing over all of the technical difficulties on my end. But I'll leave it at that, because I don't know when the next moment I'll drop right off will be. It could be right now. So thank you, Robert, and thank you, Mariah. I'll let you guys finish this up.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, GoWP. You guys are great.
Thank you for always being a great, the thanks for coming in for you, Robert. Thank you for being a great friend and partner of GoWP as well. And so the holiday week is over. We're back. So if you'd like to see Robert and see some of our other great members of our community, please join us this Friday for the Niche Agency Owners Happiness Hour. It's a great conversation where great advice is shared. We also celebrate wins, and we also we don't celebrate our challenges, but we learn from each other how to address and overcome the challenges of our agencies from great minds like Mr. Robert Jacobi, the king of marinara. So with that, and then I'm pretty sure we've already put your link in the chat, I believe, but do you want to share the link? I can share it as well, but Robert, would you like to share or say your link that people can?
That's really easy, cloudways.com.
Let's go ahead and in the Zoom link, and I'll also put it in.
Whoops, that's too many waves. I'm gonna put it in there.
What did I do? What did I do? Sorry. I can't delete this. Ignore
Nope,
my.
you can't.
Oops. Okay. I will get it right on Zoom. My apologies, Robert. You see why they leave me in the back? They put me in the back. Put me behind the door, behind the curtain. All right. Cloudways.com. I will post that as well in the Zoom link. Thank you so much, Robert. I hope you have, I'll see you when I get back to Chicago, and I hope you have a lovely afternoon. And thank you all for joining us and celebrating cloudways.com. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you, Mariah.
All right. Take care.